1. Ancient Egyptians believed that the god of creation birthed the world by masturbating and viewed it as a magical act. The belief was that Atum, whose name comes from the word completion, was alone on the planet until he ejaculated and all the living creatures were made. 2. The world's first microbiologist Antony van Leeuwenhoek discovered sperm after putting his own semen under the microscope. Anton started off by examining more family-friendly objects under the microscope, but his colleagues kept urging him to investigate semen. Before his discovery of sperm, which he called animalcules, there were some questionable theories about how babies were made, including the belief that semen contained really tiny humans that were transferred to women during sex. 3. During World War I, sexually transmitted diseases were incredibly common, and some soldiers purposely tried to get infected so that they could be honorably discharged and avoid the trenches. Some soldiers were ordered to be chaste, but that didn't really help. Those who had managed to hide their infections used matchsticks to transfer the pus to another man. 4. Mozart wrote a song which literally translates to "lick me in the arse." The prodigy wrote the canon as a party piece for his friends. While the literal translation sounds pretty raunchy, "Leck mich im Arsch" is the equivalent of "kiss my ass," so it's not quite as outrageous as you might think. 5. Lewis and Clark kept journals detailing the violent diarrhea that they and their fellow explorers had. The explorers didn't take a physician along with them, and it showed. They graphically recorded all of their challenges, which also included chafed thighs, boils, and mosquito bites. One team member even died from his diarrhea. 6. Author Victor Hugo was so popular with the local sex workers, when he died, every brothel in Paris closed down for a day of mourning. Victor, who wrote The Hunchback of Notre Dame, was a celebrity in Paris and was pretty obsessed with sex. He was such a loyal customer that all the city's sex workers had the chance to pay their last respects to him. One account even claimed that some workers draped their genitals in black material as a sign of respect. Urban legend has it that Paris experienced a mini baby boom 9 months later. 7. In ancient Greece, large penises were associated with foolishness, which would explain why so many statues have very small ones. Evidence suggests that back then, small penises were what the people wanted. According to the myths, Priapus, a god of fertility, was cursed by Hera and was horrible, impotent, and ugly. Statues of him always show him with a huge boner, which is the complete opposite to depiction of the more popular gods. 8. George Washington suffered from such severe hemorrhoids that he sometimes had to travel lying down. George was a pretty sickly guy. He also had smallpox, TB, and dysentery. At first, he tried to hide his hemorrhoids, but they became so debilitating that at times he couldn't sit. 9. The last German emperor, Kaiser Wilhelm II, had a teenage crush on his mother and even wrote her letters detailing the sexual dreams he had about her. Wilhelm, who happened to be Queen Victoria's grandson, tried to win his mother over by telling her he dreamed of kissing her, among other disturbing things. She, obviously, didn't take him up on his advances and just corrected his grammar or ignored him altogether. 10. Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein, had sex in the graveyard her mother was buried in. Shelley spent a lot of time visiting her mother's grave in St. Pancras churchyard and had a big interest in life and death. When she met her future husband, Percy, she took him along to the graveyard and that's where they got it on. 11. Irish author James Joyce wrote some pretty kinky love letters about farts. When Joyce was away in Italy, he wrote letters to his wife, Nora Barnacle, and he did not hold back. He explicitly detailed almost every sex act you could think of and mentioned farting during sex. A lot. I would read some here, but I'll let you decide if you want to take that plunge. Click the link above to read some of the letters in their raunchy entirety. 12. In Tudor times, assisting royalty on the toilet was an official job and it was pretty sought after. The groom of the stool had to go into the toilet with the monarch and assist them in any way needed. They were basically a toilet buddy. We all know that Henry VIII had a pretty heavy diet, so it can't have been an easy job. But whoever had it had constant alone time with the king, which obviously came with its benefits. 13. When he was 27, author Edgar Allan Poe married his 13-year-old cousin. Edgar's dad and Virginia's mother were siblings. They lived together in a family home before they were publicly married in 1836, and Virginia's age was listed as 21. She died at 24, and critics believe that The Raven was inspired by her illness and death. 14. When Churchill was visiting the White House during World War II, Franklin D. Roosevelt walked in on him naked. According to the accounts, FDR wanted to run an idea past Churchill, so he burst into his bathroom, where he was standing naked after the bath. Churchill was pretty chill about it all, and when Roosevelt tried to leave, he just said, "You see, Mr. President, I have nothing to hide from you." 15. King Tutankhamun was mummified with a boner. Yep, when his embalmed body was discovered, his penis stood upright. Historians believe that it was arranged like this deliberately to symbolize the political struggle of Egypt at the time. 16. When Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel, he added in a bunch of secret messages, including what some believed were insults to the Pope. The fresco has hidden messages from Jewish tradition, symbols of the female anatomy, and what some historians have interpreted as direct insults to the Pope who commissioned the piece. Basically, Michelangelo was trolling, 15th century style. 17. Mahatma Gandhi would routinely sleep naked next to young naked women as a test of his restraint. Gandhi took a vow of chastity at 38, and he had some bizarre methods. He would hold these experiments to put his purity to the test and encouraged others to do the same. One of the women he slept with was his 18-year-old grandniece, Manu. 18. English colonists in Jamestown resorted to cannibalism in the starving time from 1609 to 1610. When the colonizers traveled from England to Jamestown, they were hit with a hurricane, and so their food stores were depleted, leaving them very hungry. After eating their horses, dogs, cats, rats, and boots, some turned to cannibalism. There are eyewitness accounts that recall people digging up graves, and there was one story about a man who killed and ate his pregnant wife. And in 2013, the body of a 14-year-old girl who had been brutally cannibalized was discovered. 19. German actress Renate Müller claimed that Hitler had begged her to repeatedly kick him for sexual gratification. According to film director Arnold Zeisler, Hitler requested the movie star to be sent to him. One morning, he came across Renate, who told him that she and Hitler had gotten undressed, but instead of having sex, he fell on the floor and begged her to kick him. He then allegedly masturbated in front of her, then thanked her. In 1937, Renate fell out of a window and died. Some accounts state she jumped to her death, but there was speculation that the Gestapo were involved. Thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to ding that bell and subscribe. Until next time, stay safe out there.